I wanted to do a quick addendum to video 36. I talked about the details that you can call up on a helix, but I felt I was just a little vague about their exact meaning. And this applies especially to the angle of the endpoints of your track. But we'll go over that in just a little bit. First, I want to talk about how the details appear when you call them up. I mentioned that the details were all jumbled up, but when I was reviewing the video prior to posting it on YouTube, I thought I saw a pattern to the details. So after posting the video, I went and made a test helix like you see here and called up the details for it in Windows Notepad. And sure enough, there was a pattern. As you can see, the first three pieces of track all have the same XY coordinates. These three pieces of track all correspond to this piece of track right here in all three levels of the helix. Aha, I thought, AnyRail does order them. But then I looked at the next listings and it all fell apart. There were two sections here, then one section, then another single section, and then two sections, so on and so forth, and it just didn't work. So I recommend that if you're going to build a helix from a design done in AnyRail, that you save the details to your favorite word processing program and arrange them in an order that makes sense to you. And also, maybe getting the details in a useful order, maybe that will someday be included in an AnyRail update. Okay, let's tackle the endpoint angles on the track pieces. Let me open up a different version of the details page. Now here's my test helix for this video. It has 36-inch radius curves and a rise of 12 inches and 3 loops. Now I placed the starting point of the helix at an XY of 60 and 24. Now, I don't know if you can see the numbers on the rulers at the top and to the left, but they are at 60 and 24. Now, by using 36-inch radius curves, I could get the endpoint of each section to fall on a whole number. So here we have an XY of 60 and 60, and down here we have an XY of 60 and 96. And I did this just to make using the printed details a little bit easier. And then I did this. I broke the helix up into separate track pieces and color-coded the pieces the same as in my printed details. I then numbered each piece to match the numbers in the details section, and I also added the XY coordinates for the beginning and the end of each piece, along with the height and endpoint angle. Then to make the endpoint angle a little bit clearer, I added compass points at 90-degree increments. So we're going to look at the top layer of our helix because that is the one that is grouped together over here nicely in the details. Now note in loop 1, this piece of track is orange, and it shows up over here in the details as track 4. Now as I step through the helix like this, we're now looking at the middle loop of the helix, and you'll notice that the track piece is orange in the same place, and that track 8, also shows up over here in our details. Let's go to the top loop. You'll see that this piece is also orange and sits on top of the other orange pieces, and is also nicely contained here in the orange section of our details. Now, why these other pieces can't be grouped, only AnyRail knows. I'd also like to point out that I asked for the details several times and they always came out in the same order. Now, I did that because sometimes AnyRail does not give you the same answer twice. So let's look at the last piece of track in our loop, and that will be track number 12. The ending point of this piece of track has an XY of 60 and 24, as you can see on the rulers. The height is 12 inches and the endpoint angle is 270 degrees, meaning it points to the right, which is the 270 degree point on our AnyRail compass. Now if we go to the other end, we see it has an XY of 24 and 60 and a height of 11 inches. And the angle of the endpoint is now at 180 degrees or pointing straight down. The next section, number 11, starts at the same XY as number 12, but its endpoint angle is 0 degrees or pointing straight up. And the X point of number 11 is at an X of 60 and a Y of 96 with a height of 10 inches. And now the endpoint is at 270 degrees again, pointing to the right, because we made a 180-degree turn. Now, I could go on and look at the other pieces because I love the sound of my voice, but I think you get the idea of what the endpoint angles mean. So in the next video, we're going to build a helix in a different way and maybe try something fancy that I might work into my own railroad. We'll see you then.